In this project, we will knit a warm, cozy hat to match our scarf. We have determined that we need 100 inches of yarn to cast on the stitches for our hat. We will start by measuring this. This is the yarn that we'll use to cast on the stitches for the hat. To cast on, we must first create a loop at the 100-inch point. Hold this in one hand. Using your free hand, take the top strand and feed it up through the middle of the loop. Slip a free finger through this loop and pull it up to tighten the knot. Place a needle through the loop and slide the knot up to the needle to hold it in place. Position your yarn and needle to begin casting on stitches. Begin casting on the 56 stitches the pattern requires. Cast on the last few stitches and spread all the stitches along the needle so you can count them. Now that we have 56 stitches cast on, we will begin knitting with the yarn from the ball, not the strand. Position the yarn around your hand and finger and hold the needle with the stitches in the same hand. Begin to knit the first row. Remember, in, around the back, through the hole, and off. And repeat. Knit the entire first row. When you reach the end, space your stitches out along the needle. Now it is time to reposition the working needle to your other hand so you can begin the second row. When you knit, the yarn is in the back of the needle. To purl, you must move the yarn to the front. To purl, we put the working needle in the front and top of our stitch. With your finger, bring the yarn down between the needles. Push the working needle away through the original stitch and slip it off the holding needle. Remember to start with yarn in front. Again, needle in front, yarn down, needle away through the stitch and off. Again, needle in front, yarn down, needle away through the stitch and off. Again, needle in front, yarn down, needle away through the stitch and off. Again, needle in front, yarn down, needle away through the stitch and off. Purl the entire second row. Again, needle in front, yarn down, needle away through the stitch and off. When you reach the end, space your stitches out along the needle. When you have knit 6 inches of stocking stitch, it is time to begin shaping the hat. Stocking stitch creates an even texture and should look like this on the knit side. Stocking stitch should look like this on the purl side. To shape the hat, we are going to decrease stitches by knitting 2 together all the way across the row. Put your needle in through the backs of the first 2 stitches and knit as normal. Repeat. Put the needle through the backs of the next 2 stitches and knit as normal. Again, put the needle in through the backs of the next 2 stitches and knit as normal. And the next 2. Continue knitting 2 together. Remember not to let your work bunch up. Complete the row by knitting 2 together. Reposition the needles and the yarn to begin the next row. You will only have 28 stitches now. Remember to start the yarn in the front, needle in front, yarn down, needle through the stitch and off. Needle in front, yarn down, needle away through the stitch and off. Complete this row with knit 2 together. When we have finished our decreasing, we will have 7 stitches remaining on the needle. We need to cut our yarn at about 2 feet to hold the remaining stitches as well as sew the seam together. Thread the darning needle with the yarn strand that is attached to the hat. Run the darning needle through the remaining stitches beginning at the top of the knitting needle. Now remove the knitting needle. Turn the hat over to the purl side. Now we need to attach our row of stitches from one end to the other. Using the darning needle, count across the 7 stitches to find the last one and push the needle in. Push the needle through and pull the yarn tight. Now that we have fastened the top stitches, it is time to sew the side seam. Continuing with the darning needle, go through 2 stitches on the side seam. Now do the same to the first 2 stitches on the opposite side, then back again. Two more stitches on this side. Continue working from side to side towards the hem of the hat. Halfway down the seam, pause to check that the length of the sides are even. Continue to the bottom, making sure to stitch all the way to the edge. Make sure to sew together the bottom corner stitch from each side. Turn the hat so you can see the inside seam. This is where we will thread the loose end into. Weave the darning needle through the edge of the seam for about 3 inches. Stretch the seam to ensure the end is securely woven in, then trim off the excess. Finally, rethread the needle with the loose end from the beginning of the hat and weave it in along the seam. Stretch the seam to ensure the thread is well woven in, then trim the excess. And now, we have a self-rolling hat.